Hello YouTube. In today's tutorial video, we're going to be learning all about functions in Python and every little detail there is to know about it for the most part. So here we have a function that's defined as first underscore function, and the executable code in the function is to print hello YouTube. But we didn't perform the function call. So we have to call the function in order for this to actually print the string here that's next to the print statement, encased in those parentheses, by the way, and the quotation marks. So in order to call this function, all we have to do is type the name of the function, which is first underscore function, to the parentheses. And now we're gonna run it, and as you will see on the screen, we will witness the string "Hello YouTube" print out for us. Go ahead and save that, and there it is. So now, if you noticed before, we didn't have anything in the parentheses for the first line where we define the function. It was an empty set of parentheses. Now we have the parameter name, and what we can do with this parameter that we have in the parentheses for the function is we can pass arguments to it. Or in this case, we're going to pass a single argument. We're going to pass the name John when we perform the function call. And that's why we as you can see here, we have the function call here, and we have John encased in parentheses and quotation marks because it's going to be a string, obviously. And then we have print my name is plus name, which is in this case going to be substituted for John because that's the argument that we're passing to the parameter. Um, yeah. So let's go ahead and run this, and you will see just that. My name is John. Paste. We can define multiple parameters in the function, and we can separate them by using a comma. So here we have two parameters. We have name and last name, which are both separated by a comma. And what we can do is we can pass an argument for name, and we can pass an argument for last name. And as you can see here, for the when we call the first function, we have John defined. We have John that's going to be passed to the name parameter, and we have Smith, which is going to be passed to the last name parameter. And we also have, in the print statement, we have my name is plus name plus last name. So it's going to print out, when we call the function, it's going to print out John, and it's going to print out Smith. So let's go ahead and see that. And there you go, at the bottom there. We can also perform arbitrary arguments, which is basically when we don't know how many arguments we're going to pass to that single parameter. And what we can do is when we go to call the function, we can basically separate different arguments using commas. But what happens is that since we don't have we only have one parameter, but we don't know which one of these arguments we're going to pass to that parameter. We don't know if we're going to pass John or Joe to the parameter name. And as you can see, an arbitrary argument is basically defined by this asterisk that's right here before the actual name of the parameter name. So what we're going to do is if we want to call Joe, if we want to pass Joe as an argument to name, what we would do is in the print statement, we would basically say plus name, and in brackets, these square brackets right here, we would use the number 1 because remember, if we're thinking about the index system for Python and for most programming languages, it starts at 0, right? So John is indexed as 0 here, and Joe is indexed as 1. So we want it to print my name is Joe, so we're going to say my name is plus name, brackets 1, close parenthesis. So let's take a look here. and it printed my name is Joe. Now we have keyword arbitrary arguments, which we can also call kwargs. And what we're doing is to use one of these is in the parentheses where you have single parameter, which in our case is name, you're going to use two asterisks here. And then what you're going to do is in the print statement, you're going to basically say plus the parameter, and next to the parameter, you're going to have brackets, which are going to include a variable that we define in when we call the function. So we're defining the variable f name when we call the function, and its value is the string John. So when we go to run this, it's going to print my name is John. And there you go. Now, as you can see, we're going to pass a list as an argument. So we defined a function called function underscore xmen, and it has the parameter member. And we also created a for loop. For loop is the reusable code inside the function here. And as you can see, we needed to implement the proper indentation. So we indented the for statement and the print statement to validate it being inside this function here. So we have for x and member print x. And then down here, we basically defined a variable and we stored a list inside of it with three members, Cyclops, Nightcrawler, and Wolverine. And now when we perform the function call, we basically passed, as you can see, we didn't pass any individual characters to the list, but we passed the variable known as characters, which holds the list of characters here. So we'll go ahead and run this, and as you can see, it's going to print out all the members in the list. And there you go. So here we have a return value. We're going to let a function return a value. We're going to return 4 times x. So when we go to call the function, as you can see here, we basically pass two different arguments to the function, 2 and 4. And it's going to return 4 times x being the number inside these parentheses in both of the function calls. And 4, right? So let's run this, and we're going to see exactly that, 8 and 16. So here we have the pass statement. Now, this is used when we have a function, but we haven't defined the function, and when we go to run this, we don't want it to print an error. We want it to print nothing. So in that case, we would use the pass statement. And as you can see, typically if we just ran this function without the pass statement, we would get an error because the function isn't really defined. But when we go to run it, it's going to print nothing. And there you go, nothing. To specify that a function can only have positional arguments, what you're going to do is after you, in the parentheses, after you define the function, you're going to, after the argument x, you're going to use the comma backslash, oh no, comma forward slash to basically um, turn this into a positional, or turn this into a function that can only accept positional only arguments. Run this, and there you go. Specify a function to only have keyword arguments. What you're going to do is you're going to in the parentheses block, after you define the function name, you're going to have an asterisk before the argument, asterisk comma x. And then what this does is this creates a only keyword argument function. Go ahead and run it, and as you can see, there we go. So here we have a recursion function. Now, this is a little bit more complicated. I'm going to explain exactly how this works. So here we define the function try underscore recursion, which takes the value x. And here we defined a conditional statement if x is less than 0, or I mean, if x is greater than 0, we're basically going to do this operation here, which stores the solution in a variable called result. We're going to print result. Else, if result equals 0, just return result. So here's how this is going to work. This is being decremented by 2, meaning that if right here we're calling 6, we're performing the function call, we're giving it the number 6. So what's going to happen is we're going to have 6. I'm just going to create a note here. What's going to happen here is we're going to have 6, and then what's 6 minus 2? It's 4, right? So 4, when we call 6, it's going to basically do the substitute the operation for 4 because we're decrementing it by 2. So 4, so it's going to be 4 plus 4. No, wait. 4 plus 4 minus 2. And then we're going to add this to 6. 4 minus 2 is 2. 4 plus 2 is 6. And then what we're going to do now is basically so which equals 6, right? And then what's going to happen there is we're going to add that to 6. That is going to give us 12. Okay? That's what's going to happen there. And then what we're going to do is now, since it's being decremented by 2, we're going to do the tricursion of 4. So 4 is now our number, and this basically, since it's being like before, since it's being decremented by 2, we're going to basically have x, which is now 2, plus 2 minus 2. So it's going to be 2 plus 2 minus 2. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add the solution to 4. So 2 minus 2 is 0. 0 plus 2 is 2. And we're going to add our answer 2. So that equals 2, right? And then we're going to add our answer 2 to 4, which will give us 6. And then, yeah, so that's going to give us 6. So I'm going to print the result here, and actually, before I do that, so we did it for 4. Now we're gonna do it for 2. So we have 2, um, and what's less than 2? Less than 2 is 0, right? So we have 0 minus 2 is still 2, and then 2 plus 0, which is 2, and that is 4. Yep. As you can see, we have 2, 6, 2. And that's how a recursion function works. Well, at least that's how this recursion function works. They're a little bit more complicated. I'll probably create a separate video about them. But until now, see you guys.